Hey guys, so today I'm going to make an episode on how to take apart a carburetor and understand how it works. Now we already have the bowl off. This would collect with fuel normally, because here you would have the fuel line and that would hook onto there and gas would go into here. But you might be wondering, well, okay, does gas just always go in there? Well, that's what this is used for. Now this is a hollow piece of plastic. Now if you remove the little pin, holds it in place, and take this out very carefully, you'll notice that there's a little needle right here. Now this sits inside here. Now what this does is, when the bowl is low, it'll go down. It would be like this. It would go down. This would go up, allowing fuel in, and when it reaches normal height, it'll shut fuel off from going inside. Now, there is a way that fuel gets sucked into the engine through the carburetor. Now, in here is a jet. It's hollow, and inside here there's going to be a little thing sticking up inside of it, and where it's bigger in here, and then that becomes more narrow. There's a reason for that, because when air goes into the motor, the carburetor first and then to the motor, but it goes through the carburetor, and at first it's moving, kind of slow, but then it enters the venturi. That's what that is called, the area where everything just gets like narrow. And it speeds up and then goes right through onto the engine. Now what that does is it creates a suction force, sucking fuel up from the carburetor. Now this one's fairly dirty. It hasn't been used for a while, because as you know, I did remove this from my lawnmower, Honda mower. This is a Honda carburetor, and you might be wondering what this screw is. This is just to drain old gasoline out. Gasket on it looks, whatever this is, a little washer thing, it looks pretty bad. But, overall, I would say carburetors may look intimidating, but they're not. And you might be wondering, well, what is a choke for? Well, a choke is to keep air from going in, so when the piston goes down and the intake valve is opening, it creates a greater suction with the choke closed, allowing more fuel to be drawn up from the bowl. Now, I would recommend, if you find something that's been sitting for a while with a carburetor, to go through it, especially if you want to make sure that it will run. If you put money into all the other stuff, like other stuff, I'd go through the carburetor and then go through the gas tank, because what can happen is, varnished fuel goes in there. It could get clogged into the inlet, or it may get clogged in the jet, which is also pretty possible because it is pretty narrow. It isn't exact, but you could, for performance carburetors, drill it out just a hair, and you would flow more fuel through it, and then more air will go through the carburetor, and you can get more horsepower. But really, simple little episode. There isn't much to these, which is why I like them over fuel injection. Sure, fuel injection, makes more horsepower, and it doesn't consume as much fuel, and it's better for the environment. Well, you know what? Nothing can beat an old motor with a simple carbureted fuel system. Now, be warned, these little buggers are insane. They go through here and hold the bowl in place, but they're really easy to lose. One time we lost one, and we were like, well, of course we can't run it, so what do? We found a little stick and put it through there, little twig, and ran the motor with that. Yeah, I'm not kidding you. We've put a little twig in between here on a different style of carburetor, but still float style, and it ran fine, which surprises me, you know? You can't do that with fuel injection. And sure, fuel injection, you know, may be better for new cars, but if I were you, and you just wanted a nice little reliable motor for your classic vehicle, stick with a carburetor, especially if you don't live in that cold of an area. These work better for the cold. I mean, not better for the cold, opposite, because, you know, mechanical stuff, not electronic, and fuel will have a hard time getting into the motor, which makes for a hard time starting it. But yeah, all I really needed was this adjustable wrench to take off the bowl, which is all you really need to do in the case of a rebuild. Now, that's pretty much the entire video. I hope you guys have found some interest in it. If you didn't, well, too bad. Anyway, just a filler episode. Probably make something a little bit more interesting in the future. But if you guys haven't seen the other videos, please go watch them. If you haven't subscribed yet, do that, please. It helps me out. And also like the video. Please. It helps, you know. Share it to other people.